Welcome the anointed ones. The loudest victory is often the silence no one dares to break. Think about it. Every day, millions of people get pulled into chaos, arguing over petty lies, gossip, and ego battles, while the real power quietly sits in the background, untouchable and unbothered. Here's a fact that will shock you. Studies in psychology show that individuals who maintain calm under extreme provocation are perceived as significantly more influential and respected than those who react impulsively. Now imagine this. While everyone around you is screaming, plotting, and performing their little theater of drama, you chose peace. You chose restraint. You chose to let the storm pass without touching your soul. And here's the kicker. God didn't just notice. It was already settled. The score was being balanced while you were sipping your coffee, smiling at the chaos, and letting the universe do the heavy lifting. It's almost funny, isn't it? The same people who tried to drag you into fights, provoke you, and question your strength are now scrambling, confused, and powerless. You didn't lift a finger, you didn't shout, and you certainly didn't stoop to their level. But your silence is proving to be deadlier than their noise. By the end of this video, you're going to see why choosing peace over drama is not a weakness. It's the ultimate act of power, and why the very energy they wasted on trying to provoke you has been quietly collecting their own downfall. Buckle up, because what you're about to realize will not only shock you, it will make you grin at the irony of it all. Number 1. Your peace exposes their weaknesses. Your peace exposes their weaknesses. There's a reason why, when you stay calm, composed, and unshaken, people around you start showing their true colors. The very people who thrive on chaos, manipulation, and attention suddenly look small, clumsy, and desperate. Every reaction they hope to provoke from you dies before it even leaves their mouth, leaving them exposed for what they really are: fragile, insecure, and dependent on your energy to feel powerful. When you refuse to engage, it's like holding up a mirror, but a mirror that doesn't lie. Their attacks, their insults, their games, all of it starts to reveal cracks in their character. The louder they try to be, the weaker they look, and the more obvious it becomes to anyone paying attention that they are nothing without someone to provoke. The real beauty of choosing peace is that it doesn't feel like a strategy, because it's not. It's simply refusing to allow their toxicity to infect your life. That refusal itself becomes a form of power. People who live in drama rely on other people's reactions to feel validated. They need you to jump, flinch, or argue. The moment you don't, the whole structure they built begins to collapse. Their threats seem empty, their insults meaningless, and their confidence is revealed as nothing more than a show. In this way, your calm isn't passive. It's an active exposure of the truth. It strips away the illusions they worked so hard to create about themselves. It's not about winning a fight or proving a point. It's about creating a contrast so stark that their insecurities can't hide anymore. Your silence and composure shine like a spotlight, highlighting the gaps between who they pretend to be and who they actually are. People who thought they were in control suddenly appear powerless. The peace you maintain becomes a language they cannot speak, a code they cannot crack, and an arena they cannot dominate. They might try to keep up appearances, but beneath the surface they are crumbling, and everyone who observes can see it. The ultimate irony is that by staying quiet and calm, you have done more damage to their ego than any argument, insult, or retaliation could have. Your strength is in what you don't do, and that absence becomes a weapon more devastating than their entire arsenal of chaos. It's quiet, it's lethal, and it reveals the truth that was always hiding behind their noise. Number 2. Silence turns their lies against them. Silence turns their lies against them. When someone spreads falsehoods about you, their power only exists as long as you give it life by reacting. Every lie is like a spark, and your reaction would be the fuel that turns it into a fire. By choosing not to respond, not to defend, and not to argue, you allow those lies to float in the open air where they have nowhere to land. The truth has a natural way of revealing itself over time, and when you refuse to engage, the falsehoods start to collapse under their own weight. People begin to notice inconsistencies, contradictions, and the desperation behind the stories being told. Without your energy giving them credibility, their lies begin to unravel quietly but powerfully. When you stay silent, the world sees the contrast between your composure and their chaos. Those who lie often rely on drama to distract others from their deceit. They need noise, reactions, and public confrontations to make their story believable. Your refusal to participate leaves them standing alone, their words echoing without support, and suddenly the illusion they built starts to crack. Silence exposes gaps in their story that they hoped would never be questioned. Every attempt they make to provoke a response ends up revealing more about their insecurity than it ever does about you. People start piecing things together, noticing that the only thing loud and aggressive is their own fear, disguised as confidence. The power of silence is that it turns time into an ally. As the days pass, their lies become easier to see for what they are. People start questioning motives, recalling what was said, and noticing the gaps between story and reality. Meanwhile, your life continues undisturbed, showing that truth and integrity don't need constant defense. In fact, silence often delivers a stronger punch than words ever could, because it forces observers to think, judge, and realize the reality for themselves. Remaining silent in the face of deception isn't weakness, it's strategic truth. You don't have to shout, argue, or convince anyone. The lie, left unsupported, collapses naturally. Every effort they make to control the narrative only exposes their desperation and lack of credibility. Silence becomes a reflection of your strength, a testament to your patience, and the most effective tool for letting the truth speak for itself. Their lies, once dangerous, become irrelevant because the only voice that matters is the one grounded in reality, calmness, and undeniable integrity. Number 3, divine timing did the work you couldn't. Divine timing did the work you couldn't. There is a level of justice and correction that human hands cannot orchestrate, and when you choose peace over reaction, you hand the situation over to something greater. Every time you resist the urge to retaliate, argue, or prove yourself, you create space for the universe, or God, if you believe, to align circumstances in your favor. What looks like inaction is actually a deliberate positioning for outcomes you cannot force on your own. While others scramble, plot, and exhaust themselves trying to manipulate results, divine timing quietly moves pieces into place, arranging events so that the truth, justice, and balance reveal themselves naturally. Your silence isn't passive, it's allowing precision, unseen and perfect, to operate on your behalf. The remarkable thing about divine timing is that it never fails, even when human timing does. People try to rush outcomes, lash out, or demand immediate satisfaction, and it often backfires. When you step back and refuse to fight, the universe begins to intervene in ways you might not recognize at first. Opportunities arrive that they never anticipated, lies unravel at the exact moment they are meant to, and consequences fall in alignment with actions you couldn't control. Their attempts to harm or manipulate you are neutralized not because you acted, but because timing ensured that every move they made would ultimately work against them. The chaos they created becomes their own undoing, and the result appears effortless from your perspective, because it's being orchestrated on a level far beyond what human effort can achieve. This is why restraint becomes an invisible weapon. By choosing peace, you are not conceding power. You are transferring it to a force that operates with perfect strategy, intelligence, and patience. While others are busy creating noise and pretending control, divine timing ensures that justice arrives precisely when it will have maximum impact. It doesn't require your anger, your reaction, or your manipulation. It requires faith in the process and confidence that what is meant for you cannot be taken away. In the end, divine timing not only protects you, but it exposes those who tried to hurt you. Their plots, schemes, and attacks are undone without you lifting a finger, leaving them bewildered and powerless. What they intended as an advantage against you becomes the stage for their own exposure. The calm you maintain allows the universe to demonstrate a kind of precision that no human strategy could ever match. Choosing peace over drama turns waiting into a weapon, patience into power, and timing into a form of justice that is flawless, undeniable, and unstoppable. Number 4. Not responding is a weapon they can't counter. Not responding is a weapon they can't counter. Every person who thrives on drama depends on reactions, the flinch, the argument, the defensive word. Their schemes are built on the assumption that you will engage, that you will give their chaos life and credibility. When you refuse to respond, their strategy collapses instantly. No matter how loud they are, no matter how clever their manipulation, your calm becomes untouchable armor. Every insult, every lie, every attempt to provoke slides off you, leaving them exposed and powerless. Their attacks, once threatening, become transparent to everyone watching. Your silence forces them into a corner they cannot escape. They can't push you, provoke you, or manipulate your emotions. And that inability frustrates them in ways words cannot capture. The energy they spent planning, scheming, and scheming again turns against them because it accomplishes nothing. Every reaction they hope to get evaporates, and their desperation becomes visible. People around them begin to notice that the only chaos is coming from them, not from you, and the contrast makes their weakness undeniable. Not responding is not passivity. It is precision. It is an active form of defense that requires discipline and control. While they are busy thinking they are winning by creating conflict, you are silently dismantling their influence. Each attempt they make is a display of their own lack of power, because true strength doesn't need to prove itself through drama. Your calm communicates more than words ever could. It says that you are untouchable, unshakable, and completely sovereign over your peace. The beauty of this weapon is that it cannot be intercepted. They cannot argue against it, they cannot manipulate it, and they cannot provoke a response that would reveal your weakness because there is no reaction to exploit. Their plans fail, not because you fought them, but because you refused to play the game on their terms. In the silence and restraint, the real power becomes obvious: your composure. They cannot touch it, and that is what makes your peace deadlier than any words or actions they could throw at you. Number 5. Your restraint highlights their immaturity. Your restraint highlights their immaturity. People who thrive on drama are often impulsive, emotionally reactive, and desperate for attention. They expect others to mirror their chaos, to fight, argue, or overreact in ways that validate their existence. When you refuse to respond, their immaturity becomes impossible to hide. Every outburst, every manipulative tactic, and every desperate attempt to provoke a reaction stands in stark contrast to your calm and composed demeanor. The difference between you and them becomes undeniable, visible to anyone paying attention. By maintaining your composure, you reveal the gaps in their emotional development. Their anger, jealousy, and pettiness are no longer subtle. They're on full display for the world to see. The very things they use to try to control situations now expose them as short-sighted and unstable. Every attempt to manipulate your behavior backfires, not because you outsmarted them, but because your maturity renders their immaturity obvious. Observers start to notice who carries authority and who is still trapped in childish games. Your restraint also forces them to confront their own lack of self-control. The harder they push, the more their impulsiveness is highlighted. While they react to every perceived slight, you remain grounded, unbothered, and intentional in your actions, or in this case, your lack of reaction. The world begins to see who is genuinely strong and who relies on noise and drama to feel powerful. Your calmness acts like a spotlight, illuminating the difference between wisdom and recklessness. The irony is that by doing nothing, you accomplish more than they could with all their scheming. Peace is not weakness. It is a demonstration of strength they cannot replicate. It shows that you understand what matters, what is worth your energy, and what is beneath your concern. Their immaturity is amplified in contrast to your measured response, making it painfully clear that their chaos is not a threat. It is a reflection of their inability to control themselves. Your restraint turns their flaws into evidence, their immaturity into a spectacle, and their desperation into something the world can clearly see. By choosing peace over reaction, you make them look small, powerless, and predictable, while quietly asserting a level of control and wisdom that they can never touch. Number 6. Every whisper of drama dies without fuel. Every whisper of drama dies without fuel. Drama, by its nature, requires energy to survive. Every argument, every manipulation, every attempt to provoke is a tiny spark that needs someone to fan it into flames. When you refuse to give that energy, when you choose not to react, those sparks sputter out before they can grow. Chaos cannot sustain itself without attention, and by withholding yours, you quietly starve it at the root. The loudest noise, the most desperate schemes, the cleverest manipulations, all lose their power the moment you refuse to engage. This is where the real power lies, not in matching their energy, not in fighting fire with fire, but in refusing to feed it at all. People who thrive on drama rely on others to validate their actions. They need a response, a rebuttal, or an emotional reaction to make their efforts seem meaningful. Without it, their attacks fall flat. Each attempt to provoke you becomes hollow, a display of frustration rather than influence. The drama continues around them, but it no longer touches you, and that disconnect exposes how weak and dependent their chaos truly is. Refusal transforms into an invisible weapon. While they expend time, energy, and creativity trying to spark a reaction, you remain unshaken, untouched, and efficient. Their schemes designed to destabilize you collapse on themselves. It's ironic that by doing nothing, you accomplish what they could never achieve through their noise. They reveal their own desperation. Every plot, every rumor, every sly attempt at manipulation becomes evidence of their inability to control the situation because you refuse to participate. Withholding your energy also forces observers to see the truth. People around them begin to notice who is really powerful and who is pretending. Your calm makes their drama seem childish, forced, and ultimately irrelevant. By starving chaos of the fuel it craves, you demonstrate that influence and strength are not measured by how loud or aggressive you can be, but by how controlled, deliberate, and self-possessed you remain. In the end, the refusal to react is not weakness, it is mastery. Every whisper of drama, every desperate attempt to provoke, dies quietly, leaving the instigators exposed and powerless. The real power was never in fighting. It was always in your ability to deny them what they wanted most, a reaction. Number 7. They broadcast their true nature through your calm. They broadcast their true nature through your calm. People who thrive on drama rely on reactions to define themselves and control perception. They need you to respond, to argue, or to defend yourself so that their actions seem justified. When you stay calm, unshaken, and entirely indifferent to their provocations, that mechanism breaks down completely. Without your participation, their bitterness, envy, and insecurity become visible for all to see. Their true character, the part they tried to hide behind manipulation, lies, or attention-seeking, suddenly broadcasts itself, unfiltered and unmistakable. Your calm acts like a lens that magnifies their flaws without you ever having to point them out. Every manipulative comment, every attempt to provoke, every passive-aggressive gesture becomes a reflection of who they really are. Observers begin to notice that the chaos, the pettiness, and the aggression are not a result of anything you did. They exist solely within them. The contrast between your composure and their agitation exposes the raw truth. Their behavior is rooted in insecurity, jealousy, and a desperate need to feel superior. The more they try to rattle you, the clearer their weaknesses appear, and the world sees it without a single word from you. Remaining unshaken also disarms their strategy entirely. Drama is only effective when it sparks a reaction. When that reaction never comes, it becomes obvious that their power is borrowed. It depends on the energy of others to validate itself. Your calmness doesn't just neutralize their attacks, it turns them into a public display of their flaws. The very efforts they made to dominate, manipulate, or shame you end up highlighting their fragility and immaturity instead. This effect is subtle but devastating. You don't need to call them out, argue, or expose them because your restraint does the work for you. Their envy, bitterness, and insecurity are broadcasted on their own, and anyone paying attention can see the truth unfold. By staying calm, you transform what could have been a battlefield into a stage where their weaknesses are unmistakable, and your composure becomes the silent yet undeniable testimony of strength. In the end, your calm doesn't just protect you, It amplifies the truth about them. It shows the world who they really are while demonstrating the kind of self-mastery they can never touch. Number 8. Your silence is a mirror of their futility. Your silence is a mirror of their futility. Every word they throw, every attempt to provoke, every scheme designed to elicit a reaction bounces back on them when you refuse to respond. Silence has a way of exposing the emptiness in their actions because it removes the audience they rely on to validate their efforts. Their frustration, desperation, and lack of control become glaringly obvious to anyone observing, and it paints a clear picture. All their energy, aggression, and manipulations exist not because of power, but because of insecurity. When you stay silent, every attempt to disrupt you becomes a showcase of their weakness. They scramble, lash out, and exaggerate, hoping to elicit a response that will make them feel in control. The absence of that response turns their actions into evidence of futility. What they believed was leverage over you dissolves into a public demonstration of how little control they actually have. Observers can see it plainly. They are reactive, unbalanced, and dependent on external chaos to feel significant. Meanwhile, your composure highlights the contrast between real strength and theatrical desperation. Silence also amplifies the consequences of their own behavior. Every attack or provocation left unanswered becomes a reflection of their motives and priorities. Their schemes no longer serve their intended purpose. Instead, they reveal the raw truth about who they are. The more they push, the more the mirror shows their vulnerability. It's as if their own actions betray them, painting a portrait of someone trapped by envy, fear, or the need to dominate. Your restraint becomes the lens through which the world sees this truth, making it undeniable without you ever having to explain, argue, or defend yourself. This effect is subtle but powerful. People who thrive on manipulation depend on energy to sustain their narrative. Silence strips that away completely. Their power evaporates, leaving only the stark reality of their limitations. In their efforts to provoke, they reveal more about themselves than they ever could about you. In the end, your silence is not passive. It is active, intentional, and devastatingly effective. It reflects their futility, exposes their desperation, and shows the world who truly lacks control. While they scramble in vain, your quiet strength becomes the undeniable truth standing in sharp contrast to their chaos. Number 9. God turns their schemes into their collapse. God turns their schemes into their collapse. Every plan they devise, every plot they hope will destabilize you, is never as random or uncontrollable as it seems. When you refuse to fight, when you maintain your peace, these schemes stop being threats and start becoming instruments of exposure. What they intended to harm you with is quietly redirected, revealing their true nature, their weaknesses, and their desperation. Their attacks meant to break you end up exposing them for who they really are, and the irony is that you don't have to lift a finger to make it happen. Their plots are neutralized not by confrontation, but by divine orchestration. While they scramble, manipulate, and try to control outcomes, unseen forces are already redirecting the consequences of their actions. Lies, deception, and attempts to provoke are turned into lessons that they alone pay for. Humiliation, exposure, and correction become inevitable because their energy, invested in attacking you, becomes the very mechanism that triggers their downfall. The more they push, the more the universe, or God, aligns circumstances so that their schemes collapse perfectly, without you being involved. This process also demonstrates a higher level of justice. Human retaliation is messy, often imperfect, and sometimes leaves lingering consequences for the one seeking it. Divine correction, however, is precise. It doesn't just neutralize their plans, it transforms them into undeniable evidence of truth and accountability. Their arrogance, envy, and malice become public lessons, showing everyone watching exactly what happens when schemes are built on ill intentions. Meanwhile, you remain untouched in spirit, in reputation, and in peace, a testament to the fact that true protection and victory are not earned through reaction, but through alignment with something greater. Their collapse is inevitable because the universe cannot ignore actions rooted in manipulation and harm. Every attempt to destabilize you carries the seeds of its own undoing, and the more they try, the more pronounced their failure becomes. Your calm and refusal to react magnify this effect, leaving them bewildered and powerless, while the lessons of exposure and divine correction unfold perfectly around them. In the end, what they intended as a weapon against you becomes the vehicle of their own defeat. God turns every scheme into collapse, every attack into exposure, and every plot into a lesson. You stay untouched, your peace intact, while their plans implode spectacularly, proving that divine orchestration is far stronger than any human effort to harm. Number 10. Your composure commands respect without words. Your composure commands respect without words. True strength is not measured by how loudly you assert yourself or how aggressively you defend your position. It is measured by your ability to remain unshaken when others are desperate to provoke you. When you maintain calm in the face of chaos, even those who envy, resent, or despise you cannot ignore it. They may try to undermine you, gossip about you, or manipulate situations to make you react, but your refusal to be drawn into their chaos speaks volumes. It communicates mastery, control, and confidence in a way that words never could. People are naturally drawn to authenticity and strength. When you refuse to argue, when you refuse to retaliate, and when you act with intentional calm, your actions, or lack of reaction, force others to reassess their perception of you. Those who thrive on drama may try to dismiss it, but deep down they recognize the power in restraint. Your composure becomes a silent assertion of authority, a signal that you are not ruled by fear, anger, or insecurity. It doesn't matter how loud they are. Your calmness creates a presence that overshadows their attempts to dominate or belittle you. The beauty of this form of respect is that it cannot be demanded or forced. It arises naturally from the contrast between their agitation and your stability. When people see someone able to navigate chaos without losing balance, they instinctively recognize a higher level of strength. Envy, resentment, or disdain cannot disguise admiration. They are compelled to acknowledge your discipline, even if grudgingly. The more intense their attempts to provoke you, the clearer it becomes that their reactions are born of their own weakness, while your quiet confidence signals true mastery. Your composure also sets a standard. It communicates to the world that you are in control of your energy, your emotions, and your life. You do not need to explain, argue, or justify yourself. Every silent moment reinforces the idea that strength is not loud, reactive, or chaotic. It is deliberate, measured, and unshakable. In this way, respect is commanded effortlessly, not through intimidation, but through the undeniable power of self-mastery. By staying calm, you achieve something far greater than temporary victories or arguments. You establish an unspoken authority that others cannot challenge, proving that mastery over self is infinitely louder and more commanding than any shout or confrontation. Number 11. The drama they crave becomes irrelevant. The drama they crave becomes irrelevant. Drama only has power when someone participates in it, when someone gives it energy, attention, or reaction. The moment you refuse to step into their chaos, the stakes of their attempts collapse completely. Their arguments, manipulations, and provocations are no longer capable of influencing you or altering your peace. What they hoped would unsettle you or control the narrative suddenly becomes meaningless. Their energy, effort, and time are wasted because the target they aim to manipulate is no longer playing the game. When you disengage, their conflicts lose their significance, not because the drama itself disappears, but because its impact is nullified. Their attacks are designed to provoke fear, anger, or retaliation, but your refusal renders them impotent. The world begins to see that their schemes are only powerful when you react, and without your engagement, those schemes are revealed for what they are: desperate, empty, and ineffective. Their attempts to control or manipulate become a performance, visible to everyone as a display of insecurity rather than strength. By making drama irrelevant, you reclaim your energy, focus, and authority. You no longer allow external chaos to dictate your emotions or decisions. This act of refusal is not passive. It is a deliberate demonstration that your peace and priorities are non-negotiable. The conflicts they hoped would trap you in their web now exist only around them, highlighting their dependence on others for validation and control. The irony is that the more they try to provoke you, the clearer it becomes that their power is entirely borrowed. Every manipulation exposed, every failed attempt to elicit a reaction, shows that their influence only exists when someone reacts. Your calmness strips away the foundation of their drama, leaving it powerless and irrelevant. In the end, the drama they crave is meaningless because it requires your energy to thrive. By refusing to step into their chaos, you assert control over your life and your environment. Their conflicts only have power if you give them life, and your choice to remain disengaged turns their attacks into nothing more than noise. What they hoped would unsettle you now becomes proof of their own desperation and lack of control, while your peace remains unshakable and dominant. Number 12. Your silence confirms your sovereignty. Your silence confirms your sovereignty. Every time you choose not to react, not to argue, not to defend yourself, you are sending a powerful message. Your life, your energy, and your peace are yours alone. They cannot be hijacked, manipulated, or controlled by anyone else's drama, opinions, or schemes. In a world where so many people allow external chaos to dictate their emotions and actions, your refusal to engage is an act of ownership over yourself. It is a statement that no one has the power to disrupt your balance unless you willingly hand it over. Sovereignty is rarely recognized through words or aggression. It is recognized through consistent, deliberate control over one's own state. By remaining silent, you demonstrate that you are not a participant in petty battles or attempts at manipulation. The chaos others try to create has no leverage because it cannot reach you. Your calm becomes a declaration that your inner world is untouchable and that your choices, your time, and your emotional energy are under your complete authority. When you refuse to react, you also redefine the rules of engagement. Those who attempt to provoke you realize, often too late, that their strategies are ineffective. Their power only exists when it can be projected onto others. By not granting them that power, you establish a boundary they cannot cross. Your silence becomes a force field that shields you from their influence while simultaneously exposing the futility of their efforts. This sovereignty is magnetic and undeniable. People around you begin to see the difference between those who are reactive and those who are masterful in their control. Your refusal to participate in chaos does more than protect you. It earns respect, admiration, and often a quiet acknowledgement of your authority. Others may try to manipulate, pressure, or provoke, but your unwavering silence communicates that you are the ultimate arbiter of your life. In the end, choosing silence is not passive. It is a deliberate assertion of power. It confirms that your sovereignty cannot be challenged, stolen, or questioned. By not reacting, you make it unmistakably clear that your peace, energy, and life belong to you, and that no external drama or agenda can ever dictate how you move, think, or exist. Number 13. Every attempt at attack exposes their fragility. Every attempt at attack exposes their fragility. People who thrive on conflict and manipulation rely on others' reactions to validate their sense of power. Every insult, rumor, or provocation they launch is meant to create chaos, to make you flinch, argue, or defend yourself. The moment you refuse to respond, every attack becomes a spotlight on their weaknesses rather than a blow to you. Their desperation, insecurity, and lack of control are no longer hidden. They are laid bare for anyone paying attention. The more they push, the more obvious it becomes that their drama is a reflection of their internal chaos, not a reflection of your reality. Their attempts to provoke you act like signals, unintentionally revealing exactly what they are struggling with inside. Every angry message, every manipulative act, and every attempt to provoke fear or guilt is a demonstration of their dependency on others for emotional validation. The intensity of their attacks often corresponds to the depth of their insecurity. While they try to destabilize you, their actions only make their instability more visible. What they hoped would make you react ends up exposing them instead. This dynamic also shifts the perception of observers. People around them begin to see the difference between those ruled by chaos and those who maintain control. Your refusal to engage highlights their fragility, showing that strength is not about volume, aggression, or manipulation, but about self-mastery and composure. Every failed attempt to elicit a reaction reinforces the contrast between your stability and their instability. The more they push, the clearer it becomes that their power was never inherent. It depended entirely on your participation. By staying grounded, you reveal that the chaos they manufacture exists only in their own minds and insecurities. Their attacks become proof of their weakness, not evidence of any harm they can inflict on you. In the end, their aggression serves as a mirror reflecting their internal disorder. Your calmness and refusal to react turn their efforts into demonstrations of fragility, exposing their instability to the world. Drama, in their hands, is a reflection of their inner turmoil, not your reality. The more they try, the more transparent their weakness becomes, and your peace remains untouched, undeniable, and dominant. Number 14. Choosing peace guarantees victory without a fight. Choosing peace guarantees victory without a fight. True triumph is rarely about confrontation, arguments, or proving a point. It's about refusing to be drawn into battles that serve only someone else's ego. When you choose to remain calm, composed, and unshaken, you step out of the arena where chaos rules. Your silence, restraint, and refusal to react create a space where the natural order, God, the universe, and the passage of time can work on your behalf. What others try to force through manipulation or aggression begins to unravel without you lifting a finger. The real power of peace lies in its ability to let justice unfold independently. People who attempt to harm you often rely on your reaction to give their efforts credibility. Without it, their schemes collapse silently, leaving them scrambling while the outcome unfolds naturally. Time exposes lies, circumstances reveal weaknesses, and divine orchestration ensures that those who acted with malice face consequences precisely aligned with their actions. Your decision to stay out of the fray doesn't mean inaction. It is an act of strategic surrender to forces far stronger than human retaliation. Victory without a fight also preserves your energy, focus, and integrity. Engaging in retaliation often leads to exhaustion, regret, or unintended consequences. Choosing peace, however, keeps your mind and spirit clear, allowing the universe to handle the balance in ways that are perfect, precise, and often more impactful than anything you could have engineered yourself. Your calm becomes a testament to your strength, showing that true power does not need to prove itself through conflict. It asserts itself through restraint. Furthermore, choosing peace guarantees a type of victory that is undeniable to all observers. Those who sought to harm you may rage, manipulate, or lie, but their efforts only highlight their own weakness when you refuse to respond. Their fall, orchestrated by time, circumstance, or divine intervention, becomes inevitable and unmistakable. Meanwhile, you remain untouched, your dignity intact, and your power fully preserved. In the end, triumph through peace is the ultimate strategy. Retaliation is temporary. Reaction can be fleeting. But choosing peace allows the universe to handle the rest, ensuring that those who tried to harm you face consequences while you rise untouched. The real victory isn't in fighting, it's in knowing that what was meant to destroy you is quietly working against them, orchestrated by forces far greater than human hands. In the end, choosing peace over drama is not weakness, it is mastery. Every moment you remain silent, calm, and unshaken, you are doing more than protecting yourself. You are exposing the true nature of those who sought to destabilize you. Their schemes, their lies, their attempts to provoke, and their manipulations all collapse under the weight of your composure. Your silence becomes a mirror of their desperation, your restraint a spotlight on their immaturity, and your calm a testament to your sovereignty. While they scramble, their efforts only reveal their fragility and dependence on your reaction. Victory, in its purest form, has never required you to fight. By refusing to step into their chaos, you allow time, divine timing, and the universe itself to orchestrate the downfall of those who sought to harm you. Every whisper of drama dies without fuel. Every attack becomes evidence of weakness. Every lie collapses under its own weight. Meanwhile, you remain untouched, unshakable, and sovereign over your life, energy, and peace. This is the kind of power that cannot be challenged, bought, or faked. It is rooted in self-mastery, divine alignment, and unwavering integrity. The irony is profound. Those who try to harm you end up revealing themselves, while your silence, restraint, and peace broadcast your strength louder than any words ever could. What they meant for destruction becomes a display of their own futility, and what you held back in restraint becomes the greatest weapon in your favor. You have proven that true triumph isn't measured in retaliation. It's measured in the unshakable calm, dignity, and authority you maintain, while the universe, God, and time do the rest. So continue to rise above, continue to remain untouchable, and continue to let peace be your strategy. The world is watching, and your silence is louder than their noise, your calm is deadlier than their chaos, and your victory is already written, without a single fight. If this message resonated with you, don't just watch, own it. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss the truth that the world tries to hide. Like this video to show your energy aligns with peace, power, and sovereignty. Comment below with your story or breakthrough. Your voice matters, and your experience could inspire someone else. And share this video with anyone who needs to see how silence, restraint, and calm can be the deadliest forms of power. Remember, your peace is your power, and it's time the world witnesses it. God bless you.